Hello, and thank you for joining this webinar on what is dog agility and 3 things to consider before you start. My name is Niki Drage, and I'm a OneMind Dogs coach. And today we'll be talking a little bit about what dog agility is and what things you really need to think about before you consider starting the sport with your dog. And I will also introduce a little bit about OneMind Dogs and bust some common myths about agility. So firstly, I just want to introduce you to the OneMind Dogs method. So at OneMind Dogs, we really focus on teaching people to understand things from the dog's perspective, not just agility, but life in general as well. So you could say that we teach people as opposed to dogs, as dogs actually already understand our method. So on this slide here, you can see the Border Collie Tekla. This dog belonged to Janita Leninen, one of our founding members, and she suffered from sudden onset deafness. So all of a sudden she couldn't hear anymore. And Tekla was competing at the world stage in agility at that time. So Janita had to completely redevelop how she handles Tekla and how she communicates with her on the course and in life in general. And now Janita shares all of the learnings that she discovered during this time with us, and we all continue learning with our students as well. And we wanted to share all of that information with you. So let's talk a little bit about what agility is actually about. A lot of people think that agility is all about just obstacles and running a course full of obstacles, but I'm here to tell you that it's actually so much more. It's about establishing a really amazing, strong connection with your dog that feels like you're communicating in an almost magical silent language. If you've ever watched a really good, strong team do agility together, you'll see exactly what I mean. There's really this feeling of connection and flow together. So when we teach agility at OneMind Dogs, we are always considering the dog's perspective. I've got a little bit of a video that will show you one of our foundation for agility lessons, where you can see that when you're training agility foundations, it's really important to set up the exercise in a way that it's really clear for your dog what is the goal of the exercise and how they can succeed. When your dog does an exercise where they know how to succeed and they can figure it out using their own brain rather than you showing them, it's a lot more fun for the dog and they really enjoy it and build confidence and trust in you as well. So we'll have a look at that video now. And this is called jump offering, and you can do this at home with anything that the dog can go around. So a tree, a bin, it doesn't have to be a jump wing, and you don't even need a bar. It's just all about focusing about the dog going around an object and getting a reward. And you can use food or toys, just whatever your dog loves the most. So you can see there's not a lot of options to fail, so the dog very quickly figures out what we're asking. And when you get to the time when you want to start introducing agility obstacles to your dog, then they will very easily adapt this skill onto jumps, as you can see here. So whenever you start foundation training with your dog, it's so important to consider those fun foundation skills and what skills your dog needs from their perspective to make agility easier down the track. So agility is really a fun activity that you and your dog can do together. It's not just a sport. It's a game and a really fun way for anybody to bond with their dog, no matter what your ambitions are in the future. In the form of a sport, agility involves a handler and a dog running through a course with no lead at all, and they are in a race against the clock. And basically, they have to complete an obstacle course in a set way that the judge has set on that day. The dog and handler have to work together as a team, requiring great communication and a really good, fun attitude because sometimes things go wrong. But the dogs absolutely love it, and it's just such a fun way to do something with your dog and to get that connection together. So I've got a little video here of me and my dog competing here in Australia, and even if you listen to her enjoyment while she's running the course, you can see how much fun it is.
Good morning. You like to get your power on the plug? As long as unplug it for you right with it?
Yes. Yeah, full and right. Thank you.
No, you do it, you just yell.
let's talk a little bit about where agility came from. So the roots of agility go back to the 1970s. It's a fairly recent sport. It was originally created as a demonstration for the Crufts Dog Show in London in 1978. And then in the 1980s, it was granted official dog sport status in the UK and is now. The sport is constantly evolving, but it is recognized as a sport in many countries today. So agility is a fun activity that you can do with your dog, and it's not just a sport, but it is one of the most popular dog sports in the world. But when you think of the word agility, I want you to think of it more as a way to bond with your dog and to have a great time together, and not just as a high-level sport. Especially at OneMind Dogs, we believe that agility is a way to build that magical connection with your dog, where you get that real feeling of being two souls with one shared mind. I've got a bit of a video for you to show you what I mean about really focusing on how the dog and the human connect together when playing agility. So those were some of our founding members having an absolutely great time with their dog on the agility course. And you can see the focus is really on having a moment together and having that connection together, and not just on who's the fastest or having the most perfect run or anything like that. Agility is all about you and your dog. So there's a common misconception that agility is only for really fast border collies, and that's definitely not true. All breeds and sizes of dogs can do agility. You can enter competitions or even just do agility for fun. It really doesn't matter. The main thing is that you consider your individual dog, the dog in front of you, and what they are capable of doing. Some dogs will only ever do agility for fun, and that's totally great too, because it's such good enrichment and mental stimulation for the dog. Whereas other dogs are much more built that they could compete if that's something that interests you. Agility training is actually completely safe for puppies as well. The foundation training, especially the OneMind Dogs Foundation program, basically focuses on groundwork and skills that you build with your dog just in everyday life, having fun together and doing activities without obstacles. So it's totally safe for puppies and allows you to build a great connection as well. And for elderly dogs, agility training is a great mental enrichment activity. So I really think that you should give it a go regardless of your dog, because they will love it, I guarantee you. Agility is all about having fun. As long as you're having fun, then you know that you're doing it right. So here is a video of one of our foundation exercises and our founders playing with a dog doing a foundation exercise. So you can see how much it really is just about having fun together. So now that we know all dogs can do agility, what about you? It's a common misconception as well that you need to be young and athletic to compete in agility, and that could not be further from the truth. You really don't have to be a fast runner. At OneMind Dogs, we have many students who have different levels of physical ability, and I even personally have a student in her 70s and somebody who is 12 years old. So it ranges from every age that you could think of and every kind of physical ability. The only thing is that the less you are able to run, the more skills your dog will need. So we'll just give them a lot more strong foundation level skills so that it's much easier for them to understand handling, even without you having to be up at every obstacle. I've got a good example video here from our founding coach, Jaakko, where he was having a bit of a lazy day and he decided he wanted to work more on independent obstacle skills. And so he was training from his armchair. So you can see here Jaakko is only using the names for the obstacles and some small amounts of body language from his chair. So don't think just because you're not young and not able to run really fast or you have some injuries or disability that you're not able to do agility. Everybody can do it because remember the focus is on having fun with your dog. And as you just saw, you don't need to be able to run to do that. So now that you know a bit about agility, I would like you to consider these 3 things before you get started with your dog. The first one is, have you covered the basics already? Do you have a connection with your dog? When we talk about a connection, we basically mean that your dog is focused on you, that they look to you for fun and for permission when you are out training or when you're just out in everyday life. Even if there are other dogs and people around, you're able to get your dog's attention and get them to focus on you. You should be the number one thing in your dog's mind at all times. And if that's not the case, then we highly recommend that you start with our puppy training program, because that will show you exactly how to develop that relationship where you are the most exciting thing in your dog's life. Another thing to consider is, do you understand how dogs learn and how you can support their learning? It's really important to think about training, as I've mentioned before, from the dog's perspective. And if you're not sure how to do that, then we can definitely help you with that. And what it does is removes all the frustration in training when you're considering things from the dog's perspective and you already know how they're going to react and how you can support them to understand the goal of the exercise. So let's say you have ticked those boxes and then you're ready for the next level. The next thing to consider is your dog physically up to the task? They don't have to be an athlete or anything like that, but we do recommend that you get a vet check for the dog before you start putting them over any obstacles such as jumps, and especially over the ramps and the weaves, as these are quite physically demanding for the dog. However, it is safe to start with their foundation training right now. As you'd see in the OneMind Dogs Foundation exercises, you don't need any obstacles, so it's completely safe for you to start with any dog. It's also really important to consider the mental fitness. 5 to 10 minutes of training is more than enough, and especially when your dog is younger, they will lose focus very quickly. So it's important to keep it really short and really fun. Better to do more short repetitions than one really, really long repetition when you're training together. I've got a video to show you how you can do the agility foundation skills without any obstacles at all. So if your dog comes when called, checks in with you regularly, and is always focused on you when you ask, even under distraction, then you are definitely ready for this level. So just remember that you can start with those foundation skills straight away, but after that, I would recommend either speaking to a vet or someone already knowledgeable in agility to check that you're ready to start introducing obstacles. And if you're not sure, you could always message us or email us, and we are more than happy to have a chat with you about starting agility. So now the third point is to consider where you will train. Training at home with online support, such as you would get with the OneMind Dogs Foundation program, is a really great, easy, low-cost way to get started. And we would recommend that everybody start this way because there are so many great foundation skills to cover before your dog even sees courses or obstacles. And these foundation skills are best trained in very short little sessions regularly throughout the week. So that's the easiest to do at home and to just build it into your daily routines. A lot of people teach these foundation skills just during their general walks or at home in their yard. So what I would recommend is always starting your training online and working with our coaching team. For example, we would recommend videoing your training and sending in videos if you're having any trouble, and we can help you stay on the right track and guide you along the way. And the good thing about our foundation lessons is that they're really step-by-step and easy to follow. So you mark them off along the way and you know exactly that you're training the correct things at the correct time, working at your own pace for you and your dog, and that you're covering all of the bases so you get that peace of mind. After that, I would recommend making some DIY agility obstacles, which we have in our blog, if you would like to have a look at that. And you could then take them to a yard or a park and start working on a higher level of environmental distraction, so other dogs and people around. And you can really build that connection with your dog in that environment. And especially if you're looking to compete, it is important to look for a local agility club or trainer where you can train with other dogs being training at the same time, so that your dog can get used to that level of distraction and so that your dog can see different kinds of obstacles in preparation for competing. However, if you're not looking to compete, then training at home is completely fine, and that you can totally stay at that level as well, because again, it's all just about having fun with your dog and doing something different. If you are a OneMind Dogs subscriber, you can also send any kind of questions or videos to our training team at any time. So not only does it accelerate your learning, but it also gets rid of that needing to Google every question that you have and having 10 million opinions on the topic. So you can just speak to our coaches at any time. And as you can see here, our students really think that the detailed video feedback that they get when they submit a video is the biggest game changer in online training. It makes such a difference when you have an instructor who focuses on the dog and what the dog needs and how the dog is feeling during the session and what's affecting the dog, because that is what makes such a difference in the success and in having fun together and staying motivated. So I hope I've motivated you now to take the first step to get started with your agility training. Please go have a look at www.oneminddogs.com and check out our Foundation Agility Training program there. And we can't wait to start with you. And now please don't forget that your dog is your best coach. So whenever you're training, think of any of their behaviors as feedback and adjust your training accordingly. There's no such thing as mistakes. It's just your dog saying, I understood this exercise this way. So you can adjust your training or adjust your setup to make sure that the dog understands what the goal of the exercise is. That way you're learning the whole time from the dog. Make sure that you're always making training fun for you both, and then you'll know you're on the right track. Thank you.